The penultimate game of Week 15 brings us here to Western New York, Barclay Field at Con-Pro Stadium, home of the 4-6 Queen City Corsairs, as they welcome in the 4-6 Fort Worth Toros. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. Alongside Jesse Long, my name is Eric Vinson. Ron Haynes and Justin Reside are in the Stats Truck for us this evening, and of course, Commissioner Cameron Irvine back at BFN HQ. Jesse, good evening to you, sir. We've got ourselves a heck of a ball game. First of all, it's the 300th game in this storied franchise of the Queen City Corsairs. That's mega exciting.
And Eric, I can think of 300 Spartans that are really going to like watching it because it's going to be a march. Those sandals are going to be pounding and paving. You've got two teams that really enjoy running the football. It's going to be a tough physical game, but there's a lot in the line. This might as well be a playoff game because the winner has a shot, but the loser is going to be officially eliminated from playoff contention. So let's get this one fired up for all of you fans out there in the Virtual Football Network after dark.
Yes, sir, and it's going to be a good one. Both these teams, as you mentioned, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. 2 more games to go in the regular season, and both these teams going to have to win both of them to keep themselves in that playoff conversation. Fort Worth will start with the football, and we'll see Eric Price at quarterback leading the troops.
Absolutely. Let's get this one kicked off and fired up.
Fort Worth going to come out with an offset eye, 2 wide. 7 in the box for the Corsairs on defense, as Robert Garrett Jr. shifts in motion. Keep it on the ground to start things off. That's Jet 0, who avoids initial contact. It's a good gain of 4 yards. And we'll look at get a look at the Toros offense while we have a moment. Eric Price at quarterback, Jet 0 and JZ Bacon at running back, Aaron Alexander the fullback, Henry McGee, Nick Fritchie, Stephen Hacker the wide receivers, Robert Garrett Jr. at tight end, along with Duke LaRue, Emilio Panda, and Jaleel LaRue on the offensive line, as JZ Bacon checks into the ball game and gets a gain of 2.
And really good tackle by Duncan on him there. Don't let him get much more than you can afford to give them. Beautiful tackle.
That sets up a 3rd and 4. Split backs, Price will throw for the first time. Trying to find anybody open. He'll set his feet and fire over the middle. And that catch is made near midfield, and that's by McGee. First down of the game for the Toros.
You know, you and I were talking about that it's going to come down to who dominates on 3rd down. And that's a 3rd and 4th play. They could have easily ran it, but they said, we're going to go to Henry McGee here. 750 yards going into the contest, and he's going to add about 25 more there. That was beautiful.
Yeah, Fort Worth just under 52% converting on 3rd down during the course of the regular season. That's best for 12th in the league. As Price goes back to the air on 1st down, he's going to throw into single coverage. That's McGee again, and another Toro 1st down.
Give it to Henry McGee again, because that was a beautiful pickup by the offensive line. They sent some heat there. And just look at how the offensive line, zone blocking, just find somebody to stick it to. Nice throw over the top, inside shoulder, let those long arms grab it. Beautiful job.
Eric Belmont, the corner in coverage there for the Corsairs. So 2 plays, 2 first downs for Fort Worth as they set up shop near the 35-yard line of Queen City. Stephen Hacker will go in motion. Price back to the air again. Good clean pocket. He's going to check it down to Hacker, who's crossing, and will only get maybe a few yards. And we'll look at the Queen City defense while we have a moment. Darko Young, Finn Steele, Robert Cronel on the front 4. Duncan Onim, Luke Swift, Dexter Jackson, the linebackers. Bentley Bonner, Elijah Quick, Eric Belmont, the corners, along with Alex Marshall and Justin Reside at safety. Price, one-on-one coverage towards the top of the formation. Catch is made by Stephen Hacker as they near the SFL red zone.
You know, if you send everyone and you can't get to the quarterback, he can throw the ball to anyone. And that's what easily happens right here. They send the house, and there's just not enough time. You've got to get somebody to the commander-in-chief, or he's going to pick you apart. Beautiful catch by Hacker.
Good recognition by Price to recognize the one-on-one coverage there with Bentley Bonner, who got beat right at the line of scrimmage. So a 1st and 10. Jay-Z Bacon back to work as he gets a carry for about 5 yards, bringing up 2nd down.
And then you just put it right back inside. You know, sometimes there's no reason to dress it up all fancy. You've been doing these throws great. Give it to Jay-Z Bacon. Let Jay-Z Bacon, 8 seasons in the league, season 21 All-Star, 5'11" and 208. But when you open a hole that wide, let that nice agility move through. Fighter jets can hit you just as hard as bombers.
McGee, the motion man here on 2nd and 5. Split backs behind Price, who's under center. It's going to be a pitch to Aaron Alexander, his first carry, and he's inside the 5, trying to get to the pylon, and he will get knocked out of bounds right near the goal line. It's going to be a 1st and goal for the Toros.
That's just wide open and nothing but real estate out there. And it's all about creating space. And I think the coach could challenge here. I'm gonna wait and see if Luis Gonzalez throws out the red hanky. Looks like he's not. Time for some old school football.
Yeah, it definitely looked in real time. Maybe Aaron was able to get in. Instead, it's a 1st and goal, and Jay-Z Bacon's going to have an easy touchdown for the Toros.
Oh, man, sometimes you create a highway for the truck, and then sometimes you create a highway for another highway along with it, and that's what the offensive line does here. Man, and if you are Luis Gonzalez, you love seeing this. Everything you wanted to do, you did it. You protected the quarterback. You gave Eric Price plenty of time to make those smart throws, and you ran the ball, and you scored in the red zone, too. Beautiful first drive for a score.
Bad snap on the extra point, but the kick is up and through by Sophia Peaches. A 9-play, 80-yard drive. Great start for the Toros, capped off by the 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for Jay-Z Bacon. So good start for the Toros. We'll see how Queen City responds here.
And 4 for 4 on the opening drive for Eric Price. 118.8 is the official QB rating as of right now.
We'll see if Silas Christensen can match that. Short kickoff. Good return. Bounces it to the inside, and a tackle there by the kicker, Peaches, right near the 40-yard line. Mark it down at the 41, but a great return, great start for Queen City.
The last line of defense, because it looked like that fella was going to be gone right there. Bob Wood, 5 seasons, season 24 All-Star last season, and he was as good as gone if Peaches hadn't made that tackle. Don't forget, tackling is part of the special teams business. And as Lisa Hendes, you love seeing that. There's 3 phases to the game, and you got to do great in all 3 of them.
Kickers are people too, after all.
I agree.
Queen City starting off 5 wide. Christensen going to be under center. Throws over the middle. No, near sideline, tipped and incomplete. There's the sea of humanity along that near sideline, and it hits the turf.
And that was a beautiful pickup, too, but it just too tight of a coverage for the throw to be complete.
So, of course, there's a reset. Coming out in an offset eye this time. Osmosis is lined up at fullback, and Baker dots the I. Davis, the motion man. Landed off to Osmosis, coming out of the fullback, and he'll drive ahead near midfield. It's going to set up a 3rd and 2 for Queen City.
3rd and 2, very nice, easy run right up the middle. Beautiful, you love seeing that. John Osmosis, first attempt for 8 yards.
Sticking with a similar formation, the big hefties are out there, and it's going to be a keeper by Christensen, and he'll pick it up with ease. That's an easy first down for the Corsairs.
Hey, a little bit of trickeration, right? A little trickeration, trickerosity, tricky-cala voraciousness. That's a new word.
Is it? They put that in the dictionary too?
I'm working on it.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. I mean, hey, Bootylicious got added, so, you're probably next up.
I'm going to put my face right next to it. I am the definition of it, after all.
Offset back, it's going to be a pitch to him, and that's Osmosis with the carry. He'll get a carry of 7. And we'll get a look at the Corsair offense here with Christensen at quarterback, Osmosis and Baker in the backfield along with Lars Bazar, Ryan Davis, Bob Wood, Guy Clausen, and Joe Beasley, the wide receivers. James Matthew Jr. at tight end. Don Cosmosis, Landon Onum, Kai Pickle, and Demon Pickle are along the offensive line as we get a handoff to the fullback. That's Bizarre with his first carry. And good stop from the Toros defense to force a 3rd and 2.
And he just got bottled up right behind Kai Pickle. Sometimes with these zone blitz schemes, you got to make a decision, and then the offensive lineman makes a decision that gets in the way. You keep driving your legs, and you just end up with nothing, but also a great stop there by Fort Worth as well.
We'll see if Queen City can pick up their second 3rd down of the drive. Handoff goes to Bizarre, churning his legs, and he will get enough to pick up the first down for Queen City.
Well, don't forget about Lars Bizarre. It's very easy to forget him among this, dual hit core of Jet Zero and John Osmosis and Charlie Baker. But Lars Bizarre has 135 yards in the season as well.
Christensen to throw, finds Bob Wood. That's going to be a first down. So Queen City starting to move the football with relative ease as they get deeper into Fort Worth territory.
But one of the beauties of this Queen City passing offense is that they're an equal opportunity employer. They don't have a specific go-to guy. They really like to spread the ball around, and if you're open, you are going to get the action.
That gets them inside the SFL red zone. Mark it at the 18-yard line of Fort Worth. Back to the ground game. Osmosis with the carry. Big hit by the safety Delaney Nash, and that'll give us an opportunity to look at the Toro defense. Jerry DeGond, Jeff Gagne, Luther Gond, and Henry Callahan all on the front 4. Josiah Grackleflint, Jeff Spicoli, the linebackers. Tobias Gordon, Adam Leach, Aiden Davis, the corners. Ben Stone, Zion Waddles, Ben Sharps, and Delaney Nash are the safeties for this Toro secondary. Another carry for Osmosis, trying to find a little bit of room towards the middle of the field, and that sets up another 3rd down for Queen City.
Just a nice delayed handoff, and I've always talked about these why passing plays where you say, should we pass the ball? And the coach says, why? And this is one of those reasons. Just keep running it.
3rd and 2, okay. And Fort Worth has a ton of penetration up front. Guess who? Delaney Nash, another big hit. TFL, 4th down coming up for Queen City.
Delaney Nash, sir, I understand. You're the season 21 MVP. You're an 11 season strong safety. I understand. They can't run it every time when you don't want them to.
Joe Garfield will set up for a 27-yard field goal attempt, and that is true. That'll give Queen City their first points of the evening. 11 plays, 48 yards set up with that nice Bob Wood return to start off the game. And Queen City makes it a 4-point game.
It really is, and you love seeing that out of your defense. Chad Stinson is patting all those defensive guys on the head, firing them up. You keep moving, marching, then you get into the red zone, the money zone, the green zone, because that's where you get paid, and then you shut them down.
Another deep kickoff here for Garfield, and we'll see it back out at the 20-yard line for Fort Worth. They marched down the field and got a touchdown on their opening drive. And they'll have 2 minutes, 31 seconds to see if they can replicate that here in the first quarter.
They really did. They moved with alacrity.
Coming out with the split backs again. Handoff up the middle goes Bacon, who had the touchdown on the previous drive. This one a gain of 6, 2nd down.
So the word alacrity actually is a real word. It means to move briskly with a sense of cheerfulness.
You learn something new every day. The more you know. Zero checks into the ball game. Not as much success on the previous run from Bacon. Only a gain of 1. That brings up 3rd and 3.
Yeah, I think Zero learned there that if you run in front of Duncan On is going to stop you wherever you are running. That was a nice solid hit there. 2 seasons, first year with Queen City, 246.
Play action. Price throws an interception. First turnover of the ball game, and it goes to Dexter Jackson, the former Fort Worth Toro, picks up an INT.
I am thinking miscommunication right off the bat. The receiver comes in, and he's probably supposed to cut inside and just underthrown. Great man-to-man coverage on the initial reception there. And that's just exactly what happened. Right place, right time. And great job there by Dexter Jackson to have the presence of mind to know where his feet were instantly and to use his athleticism to make the interception.
Jackson, a 12-season vet in the SFL, first season here with the Corsairs. Handoff goes to Bizarre up the middle for a gain of 3, bringing up second down, and now Queen City has an opportunity to take the lead early on.
They really do, thanks to Dexter Jackson's second interception of the season. And Queen City here wants to show that they can score the football. They don't want to walk away with just a field goal here. You know, turnovers and turnover difference, they really want to show that they can capitalize on those opportunities.
Just the 17th takeaway for this Queen City defense as Christensen going to throw. Tried to check it down, but it was good coverage along that far sideline from the safety. Or no, excuse me, it was the corner, Adam Leach. It brings up third down.
And they should be very thankful that all Adam Leach did was play the ball, because if he had actually gone inside on that pick and he had safety help over the top to take that risk, it could have been a very easy pick six the other way.
So Fort Worth manning up on this 3rd and 7. Queen City now 2-2 in the formation. Christensen shuffles in the pocket, sets his feet. He's going to fire end zone, and he throws an interception. Ben Charbs with the pick. Back and forth we go with turnovers, and now Fort Worth back up at the 20-yard line.
Turnovers have been an issue for this Queen City team, and this is just one of those times where I guess he tried to go inside with it. It looked, there was nothing to do there. There was nowhere to really go there. I guess he just tried to muscle it in. Maybe he felt the pressure of the outside edge of the defensive tackle coming up to him, but yeah, that hurts.
28th takeaway for this Toro defense, best in the league, as Bacon goes back to work, spinning around and gets 6 out of the deal.
And you might as well go back to the well, especially given that, okay, you get a turnover and then you just turn over right back. It feels like we're right back to square one. So no real momentum has been lost, and nothing has really changed in the landscape of the football game.
Very early on in the tug-of-war match between these two teams to try and keep themselves in the playoff hunt. As Zero gets the carry, nothing doing, bringing up a 3rd and 3, and we might see one more play before the end of the quarter.
A good way to break through, because the offensive lineman, Victor Alati, the non-contract guard, was there ready to pave the way, but Luke Swift went around and made the tackle.
3rd and 3, Price will roll out. He'll set his feet, fire over the middle, and that's Stephen Hacker, all reliable near the 40-yard line to make the grab for the first down.
You know, Stephen Hacker, so if you take a look on the paper here, it says he's 6'3", but with that vertical, he might as well be a basketball hoop. Throw it up nice and high and let him come down with it with that big, strong physical body.
We've reached the end of one here from Buffalo, and Fort Worth is on top, 7-3 over the Queen City Corsairs. You're watching the SFL on VFN.
Yeah, Hacker and McGee's.
Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Dags Droneworks, aerial photography and videography services for real estate, events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com as we get a beautiful shot of the USS Little Rock panning on into downtown Buffalo. And welcome back into Barclay Field at Compro Stadium, home of the Queen City Corsairs, facing a 4-point deficit to the Fort Worth Toros. Eric Vincent alongside Jesse Long, Ron Haynes, and Justin Reside in the stats truck. Commissioner Cameron Irvine back at VFN HQ. Bacon with the carry on first down, loses 2.
Yeah, there's that guy again, Luke Swift, once again makes another tackle. And he's just really been everywhere tonight. You know, these Queen City defenders have been controlling the line of scrimmage very well. That's Luke Swift's 4th tackle and his 1st tackle for loss, and probably won't be his last tonight.
Fort Worth going split backs. Another carry for 0 up the middle of the field for a gain of 6, bringing up a 3rd and 6.
Let me tell you, they made him work for every one of those yards. I mean, he got probably about 6 yards, but he might have got hit by about 6 people. He really fought and clawed for every one of those yards. Those Spartans out there are pounding their chests like, oh.
2 of 3 on 3rd down tonight. Fort Worth trying to convert, and Price gets absolutely suplexed near the 40-yard line. What a hit by Alex Marshall.
And for the Spartans, we're going to tell them that is what we call a Tomahawk missile. That is an advanced technology. He tried to go over the top, and Alex Marshall turned that into a WWE move. The season 24 5-season vet just absolutely smashing Eric Price into the turf.
I'm sure Price is getting some smelling salts along that Fort Worth sideline right now as Peaches handles the punt, and Bob Wood takes it out across the 20 to the 22.
Yeah, that makes me think of like on golf courses when there's a divot. Well, there's an Eric Price-sized divot right now in the field that you might want to fill, as Bob Wood grabs it here and does a little trickeration to get an extra 5 yards. Not a lot, but also remember, a lot can go wrong on special teams. It's a big part of the special teams game to limit the mistakes that can happen in that part of the field.
You know, I wonder if Eric Price has a caddy that can kind of come out and just kind of fill in that divot a little bit.
I got a story for you after this play.
1st and 10, 8:42 to go in the half. Handoff goes to Osmosis, and he slips through the linebacker, gets a gain of 6.
So my grandpa bought a new car way back in the day. This little girl walks by and goes, "Mr. Valero." Goes, "Yes." "Is that a Cadillac?"
That's good. I like that.
I think it was. Grandpa was rolling deep. Short arms and deep pockets. It's a long family tradition.
We love the Cadillacs and we love big hits. And we got it right there as Christensen tried to pull the okey-doke and go with the QB sneak. Fort Worth was having none of it.
I think Jasad Grankle-Flint was tired of hearing me talk and decided he was just going to smash the ball carrier on that one.
Now we've got a Christensen divot out there on this 3rd and 3. Carry goes to Bizarre, nothing doing. Grackle-Flint and company coming up and making the stop. 4th and 2 now.
And the offensive line just couldn't get the push. When you need 3 yards, it's just ugly football. I mean, you're tush pushing, except you're doing it for 4 yards, but the idea is still the same.
And so now both teams exchanging punts. Fair catch going to be called for and made just south of the 40-yard line. Mark it down to the 38 for Henry McGee.
You know, it's a really interesting line about how these drives have ended. So you get the Fort Worth score, you get the Queen City field goal, but then back-to-back interceptions and back-to-back punts. You know, so it's time to see who's going to take control of the game here. Which drive is going to find the end zone first?
Coincidentally, both punts being 35 yards in total,
I know.
Which is very strange as Bacon gets the carry for a couple yards.
Very strange indeed. It could be 7-3 throughout the entire game. You never know.
Well, that's kind of how playoff football tends to happen. And, I mean, from here on out, it's going to be playoff football for both of these teams if they want to actually get to the playoffs.
Right.
2nd and 8 now as Price is under center. McGee, the motion man. Short drop, he'll throw as he's hit, and Hacker couldn't come up with that one in tight coverage. Going to bring up another 3rd down.
I got to give it to Eric Price because all the devils were in the room and the flames were looking at his soul on that one. So for him to be able to throw it out to Hacker and just make an incomplete pass out it and hit the hands on him, these guys are ready to play. I mean, we could go into 100 overtimes.
We are 5 days away from Halloween, folks, so the demons are out there. 3 wide. 4 wide, 3 towards the bottom of the formation. Price on 3rd down. Pass the throw. One-handed grab by McGee. That was the most casual one-handed grab I think I've ever seen.
That's like grabbing a cup of coffee off the counter. You know, just walk in, you pre-order, you're like, let me just grab that real quick. I mean, he's just running through the side here, nice inside corner route. Just let me just grab that. Hello, football. How are you doing? Man, and Henry McGee so far has been a big friend to the football. That is going to be his 4th reception of the game.
Alex Marshall in coverage on that play, and might as well have not been there with how McGee snagged that one. Back to the ground game, and Zero having no success there. Good tackle by the defensive tackle, Finn Steele.
You know, it's a big deal to get those kinds of tackles because when you force them into a 2nd and 10, you kind of eliminate their ability to do every part of what they want to do out of the playbook.
Back to the ground game, this time Bacon trying to make something out of nothing, and he'll get maybe a couple yards. Fort Worth facing another 3rd down.
Yeah, in Fort Worth, other than that 16-yard run by fullback Aaron Alexander, they're not, so far, they're not getting a lot of yards every time they run the ball, but they're running the ball a lot. 13 carries. They did get that one score with Jeezy Bacon on the goal line, though.
Over the course of the season, they've only averaged about 3 yards a carry. Price on third down finds Hacker near the 20-yard line. Another big-time grab for the old-school wide receiver.
And, this is just driving you crazy if you're Luis Gonzalez, because one step forward, two steps back, right? You've got them locked down. You've got them against the ropes. And then they throw one of these huge passes to another one of their big playmakers. Stephen Hacker and McGee already have combined for over 100 receiving yards.
Price going to make it an offset eye here. First down inside the SFL red zone. Bacon gets rid of initial contact and gets near the 15. We'll make it a 5-yard gain.
So much of running is leverage as you go. It's the ability to take those legs and churn them. That's why the really great running backs also have backgrounds in wrestling. And I don't mean WWE wrestling with the flaming ropes and the ladders. Wrestling.
0. Only going to get maybe 1 as Dexter Jackson makes the play. I knew what you were talking about with wrestling. The real stuff, not the, people's elbow, all that fun jazz.
I mean, you could do a people's elbow in wrestling.
I mean, yes. And, we've seen it a little bit tonight as well. Eric Price is still probably feeling that one.
I think the tights are a little comfier, too.
Another interception for Price. Pressure was coming, and it was coming quick. He had to get rid of the ball, and Justin Reside comes up with another gifted ball.
And Eric Price is not feeling very comfortable right now. You can see him just gun that in, and there's just no reason to do that. The coverage is so tight on the intended receiver, he might as well have thrown it directly to Justin Reside. Anytime you are a safety, and I get it, right? You're on defense because you can't catch. But if you can plant your feet right where you are and ball hawk, that's going to happen almost every time.
6th INT for Reside on the season. That puts him up into the top 5. As Christensen going to roll out, throw across his body, and incomplete. You never want to see that from the quarterback, Jesse.
Yeah, you really don't. And with these, outside pocket runs with these bootlegs, they work, but then you also have to be able to get open on these long developing passing plays. And so far, they've only had 1 reception to Bob Wood, and there's only been 5 attempts and only really 3 targets. They're having a hard time getting the ball to anybody that can catch it right now.
The one sustained drive on their opening possession, but other than that, really not a whole lot of offensive success. We'll see if they can rectify that here on this 2nd and 10. Pitch play goes to Osmosis. He's got a little bit of running room if he can get the corner, and he does, but gets ushered out of bounds right near the sticks. Still going to be a first down.
That all happened because they caught them off guard here. They were able to get the running back out into space, and they were able to get Osmosis out. And as you can see, they were caught so off guard here. Luther is trying to chase him down, but it's all about positioning sometimes. Sometimes it's not about physical. It's also about finesse, spacing, and trickeration.
After catching the Fort Worth defense off guard, 1st and 10 now for the Corsairs. Christensen back to the air. Good clean pocket. He checks it down to Bob Wood. Turns on the Jets and gets the first down and more. Down across the 35. Probably mark him down at the 38.
Well, we're talking about spacing, and it looks like right now, spacing is the goal. Be able to get players in positions where you can create mismatches. So much of this game is all about creating mismatches. Yeah, he's a little guy, the other guy's a big guy, but he just can't get him by the shoestring. Right? Sometimes you can get through a big problem by going around it. It's all about being clever.
I think Christensen recognized that it was a one-on-one matchup there with the linebacker on a wide receiver. That's pretty much a win every single time. Another fresh set of downs for the Corsairs. Blitz coming. Christensen throws a low one there, and looked like it was intended for Guy Clausen. Going to be incomplete.
Yeah, just too low to grab here. And I think what you want to do right now, if you're a coach, if you're a veteran player out there, you just want to say to Silas, hey, man, it's okay. Got this. Forget that one. Let it go. We got you, brother.
All about that flush it mentality. Christensen on 2nd down. Good coverage. Fires into double coverage and comes up with the catch. Joe Beasley, his first target and a big catch right there.
And Joe Beasley, the season 21, 5-season veteran. Just look at this. Perfect. That's right where you want to put that football. And he just focused on making a really good, accurate pass.
Queen City pushing this into Fort Worth territory now as we approach the 2-minute warning. Matthew Jr., the motion man, 1st and 10. Christensen throws over the middle, catch made again, this time near the red zone. It's Ryan Davis with his first catch and another first down for the Corsairs.
And Ryan Davis loves seeing this out of his offense. They're kind of going left, right, here, there, and everywhere. They're really mixing up, and what they're doing here is, like I said, it's all about being clever here. They're trying to, like, okay, they went outside into space. They ran outside into space. They created a giant gap in space. They're creating spacing right now really well on this drive.
See if they get one more play off before the 2-minute warning. They do. Christensen, low ball, catch made inside the 10. It'll be a goal-to-go situation as we come on the other side of the 2-minute warning. 1:58 to go here. Queen City finally humming, getting some things going, and looking to take the lead here in a knockdown, drag-out fight to see if they can keep themselves alive in playoff contention. 7-3 is the score, but Queen City knocking on the door. You're watching the SFL on VFN.
This is what it's all about here.
Eric Vincent alongside Jesse Lawn, Ron Haynes, and Justin Reside in the stats truck. Commissioner Cameron Irvine back at VFN HQ. Fresh set it down, goal-to-go situation. Carry goes to Osmosis, and Fort Worth ready for it there, no gain.
You know, and in the red zone, it all becomes so different because it goes from being a wide-open game, a vertical game, to a high-intensity, physical, horizontal game, and a power game when you go through the middle.
They're going to keep going through the middle. This time, Charlie Baker with a carry inside the 5, and it's going to be a 3rd and goal.
Yeah, it's so hard to come up with the right play call here, right? Because you can do it a lot of different ways. That's kind of the benefit that Queen City has right here. They have to respect the run, and that could open up the pass too.
Clock continuing to roll. 3rd and goal. Blitz coming. Christensen retreats, sets his feet, fires end zone. Incomplete. There was a lot of white jerseys in that area there, and he's lucky that ended up being incomplete.
And he really was. And, you know, it's easy to say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. When you're throwing a ball into a location like that, it's like inbounding a basketball. There's so much banging around, physical contact. You're trying to establish position. But luckily, it only fell harmlessly to the turf.
Spicoli with the pass deflection there. Sets up a 4th and goal. 21-yard attempt here for Joe Garfield to make it a 1-point game. High snap gets down, and he bends it through the uprights, and it is up and good. 11 plays, 87 yards. That was a sustained drive that we were looking for from this Queen City offense after getting that turnover from Fort Worth. How do the Toros respond now? Just being up by 1 now.
Well, you know, the Toros, I personally, if I'm Luis Gonzalez, I'm going on the attack. And the reason why is because I want to see if this team feels a little disheartened after kind of not really being able to fully cash in on the opportunity that they got. They haven't been really getting big, sustained drives, so I want to test their defense. I want to see if they got the dog in them and if they're ready to fight me.
They do have a couple sustained drives over the course of the game, but unfortunately they were capped off with Eric Price interceptions. So we'll see if Fort Worth can take care of the football and really get some points on the board. It would be beneficial to them to do that now as Queen City going to get the second half kickoff. All 3 timeouts for both teams. 1st and 10 from the 33. Bacon off tackle, trying to find a little bit of room, slips the defender, churns his legs, and gets extra yardage for the first down. Fort Worth will call their first timeout.
Really nice run. Nothing wrong with that. They say, oh, it took down the clock. You had to call a timeout. But you move the ball 15 yards and you establish you can run it. Keep it moving.
Bit of a heavier set. 3 wide for the Toros as the Cowboy, Robert Garrett Jr., goes in motion. Price, 3-step drop, fires, one-handed grab by Hacker near the 40-yard line of Queen City. Another timeout for Fort Worth. They have 1 remaining.
And a great blitz pickup. I saw that blitz coming right through the middle, both sides. They were able to pick it up long enough to make a nice throw out there. Very balanced so far. 118 passing yards this half, along with 70 rushing yards.
Price back to the air, over the middle. Hacker, another catch over the middle, another first down. Fort Worth out of timeouts now.
Oh, it's time for the old time management. All right, Mr. Price. Show us you have what it takes to know how to run the most important part of the game, and that's Father Time.
Inside the 30, just inside the 29. Price throws a bit of a lofter to McGee, and that falls to the turf. Probably a good thing for Fort Worth. That way they can reset.
That's a very good point. Sometimes you kind of don't want it to work out because you would have lost a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, these are all playmakers. Somebody drops the ball on purpose, and I know you know that. But, hey, sometimes it ends up working out.
Football's a funny game that way. Toros going 4 wide, 3 towards the bottom of the formation. Price fires, incomplete. A little bit of a miscommunication, I think, with his wideout, and now it's 3rd down.
Yeah, it looked like he cut back inside, and it seemed like Price thought the route was going to go outside. There was just nobody in the vicinity.
Fort Worth 4 of 8 on 3rd downs. So far, Price will roll out. Sets his feet. He's going to throw. Oh, just another interception. That was dangerous. Luke Swift was in the area. He could have taken that back to the crib.
Oh, and you know, Chad Stinson's got his hand. He's looking down at the ground. He's got his hands on his knees. He's just like, oh, I wanted that.
Sophia Peaches lining up for a 46-yarder. And she will miss it. Doinked off the left upright and no good.
Oh. You know, the hardest part of this job is finding out what to say sometimes. And I'm telling you, you know, maybe it didn't work out so bad for Coach Chad Stinson after all. Maybe he's feeling a little bit better. I'd say that's gone with the wind.
There it is. 30 seconds left. Christensen trying to get a cheap one over to Clausen. That one falls incomplete, 2nd down. Queen City with all 3 timeouts. They got an opportunity to double dip here a little bit.
Yeah, they really do. And, you know, I'd say the beauty of this, you got to block the goal line, you got to block field goal range. So take a vertical shot at some zones. Find some space.
4 wide, Matthew Jr. in motion. Christensen throws. A little bit of a low ball there. Also intended for Clausen. Aiden Davis in coverage, 3rd down.
James Matthew was planning to streak out. Just boom, go for it. But he got chipped at the line on the coverage. So a very nice, subtle jab by the defense to keep this a very manageable 3rd and 10.
Single back look, trips towards the top of the formation. Now they'll motion it to 2 and 2. Fort Worth coming out with a man defense. Christensen will throw. Near sideline, catch made, 1st down. That's Clausen again, and Queen City will call their first timeout.
And prior to that, they were 2 for 7 on 3rd down, and now they've made it 3 for 7, and also a really clutch 3rd down as well.
And we talked about it, Jesse. 3rd downs were going to be a key stat to keep an eye on with both of these teams, as they've only completed just above 50% of the time during the course of the regular season. Christensen throws and incomplete. The linebacker was back there in coverage. I think that was Grackleflint again.
And Jeff Gagne was kind of doing that whole, yeah, just moving over, don't mind me, just washing the window, boom, and then he was off, and that definitely hastened the process.
So stop the clock at 16 seconds, 2 timeouts for Queen City. Christensen. He's going to fire a deep ball in, a little bit too far for Clausen, the intended target, and it's now 3rd down.
He looked open, but when a ball is thrown, it's thrown in a parabola. It's not a perfect arc. It kind of comes up and comes down a little bit. So in throws like that, it's actually harder to make them than it looks.
So now Queen City faced with a 3rd and 10. They'll pitch it out to Osmosis, trying to get what he can out of the deal, but I think Queen City was pretty content to just run the clock out and hit the halftime break. And halftime break it is. 7-6 the score here in Buffalo. Fort Worth with the 1-point advantage. Been a back and forth affair between these two 4-6 teams trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Jesse Long, what did you see in the first half?
You know, something interesting here. 2 interceptions for Eric Price and an interception for Silas Christensen. But this game looks almost like 2 perfect mirrors if you look at the stats. But what I really need to start seeing from the team that's going to win this football game is taking their opportunities and finding a way to really turn points with them. This doesn't seem like, it seems like a game where the team that's going to win the game is the first team to find out how to get the ball and score a touchdown with it. These field goals are great. They add up. There's the 1 field goal opportunity that didn't end up working out because it docked off the post. But the winner of this football game seems to be the first team that can kind of take the next turnover opportunity, because I think it's going to happen. I know the announcer's curse. I think it's going to happen. But if it does happen, the team that can finally find the end zone some way, somehow, is going to be the winner in this football game.
Fort Worth being the only team that has found the end zone so far that was on their opening possession. Otherwise, we have not seen any sort of offensive touchdowns, just a couple of field goals from Queen City and 1 failed attempt from Fort Worth. And that's where we sit at 7-6 with Queen City receiving the second half kickoff. Another bit of a shorter kick fielded at about the 5. Bob Wood turning his feet and driving as he gets close to the 35, mark it down to the 34. Eric Vincent alongside Jesse Lawn in the broadcast booth. Ron Haynes and Justin reside in the stats truck. Commissioner Cameron Irvine back at VFN HQ. And we've been treated to a good, close football match so far here between these two teams. As I mentioned, both of them trying to keep their playoff hopes alive.
We really have. And, and when we talked about 3rd down, how important it was your idea. And I thought it was a great idea. You have great ideas, Eric.
Well, I appreciate that. I should hear that more often.
It's my pleasure.
Christensen will hand it off to Osmosis, met in the middle of the field there from the Fort Worth linebackers. And it's going to be a gain of 5.
Yeah, it looked like Osmosis' idea was to run forward, but Jeff Spicoli had a much different idea and absolutely planted him into the earth. So watch where you step. These ball carriers are getting buried into the earth today.
Brings up 2nd and 5, keeping it on the ground. Bizarre trying to get what he can and almost gets the first down. Grackle Flint with the tackle. 3rd and about an index card.
Let me tell you, if you are a linebacker and you want to add tackles to your stat sheet, tonight is the night. I mean, I look at this tackle listing on the stat column right now. Dude, they are filled to the brim on both sides.
So another 3rd down. We've seen Christensen try to sneak it. Instead, he'll hand it off and get just enough to get them the first down.
And that's very telling for your offensive line and establishing themselves. Sometimes, like you said, all you need is a note card. Get the note card, just focus on getting the first down, and then you can figure out what you're going to do for the next set of downs.
Looks like Christensen and company want to pass. 5 wide, no backs. Christensen almost throws another interception to Ben Charbs. He had 1 in the first half, and that brings up 2nd down.
Yeah, he's a dangerous guy. He's a dangerous guy nearly every day, but he's definitely not somebody you want to test today. That's going to be his 3rd pass deflected, and he already got his mitts on another one. So Definitely, he's been a guy that's been around the ball today. Charbs and Nash, the Bash brothers, are both looking at an all-star trip this season.
Charbs had 7 tackles in the first half as well, as we saw in that lovely halftime montage. 3 wide, offset back. Pitch goes to Osmosis. Lowers his shoulder, but only gets maybe a couple out of the deal, bringing up 3rd and 7.
Great job by Ben Stone, because they were showing trips and they all went out to block. But Stone was able to break through and make that tackle. 9-season veteran, showing you why he's also a season 20 All-Star.
Good number so far for Osmosis, averaging just north of 5 yards a carry. 3rd and 7 now for the Corsairs. Christensen will roll out, good clean pocket. He'll throw middle of the field looking for Matthew Jr., and it's going to fall incomplete, a 4th down.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with this. Throw it at them, and hey, if it hits their hands, especially with big physical receivers like tight end James Matthew Jr., 13 seasons in the league, 7-time All-Star, because if it hits his hands and becomes a duck, it could become someone else's duck.
Archer with the punt. Good hang time on that. McGee will field it and fumbles it. It is on the turf, and Fort Worth, thankfully for them, covers it up. And they'll set up shop at the 21-yard line. Almost another turnover, Jesse.
Remember how we talked about turnovers, special teams? Dude, he got hit like a truckload of bad news. Not just a truckload, an entire warehouse. Make it a logistics company. An international logistics company of bad news hit him on that play, and thankfully they recovered the ball.
The ball just popped right up into Mel Mitchell's hands, the backup strong safety playing special teams on the play. So Fort Worth keeps possession as Bacon gets the carry, only for maybe a half a yard, as Swift gets another tackle to his credit.
And also got shipped to the right address. But yep. And it's good to see them still committing to that run. You know, we talked about they don't run the ball a lot of the time they do it, but they do stay committed to that run.
Fort Worth hasn't gone one-dimensional yet, not in a one-point game, as Price, he had Hacker wide open, but the hit jarred the football loose. It was a big hit by Justin Reside, who had an interception in the first half.
Justin Reside's been all over the place today. That's going to be his, second pass deflection, 3 tackles. He also has an interception today. He's been really showing up, because going into this game, I know you and I were talking about the role that Justin Reside and Alex Marshall are going to have in containing the playmakers that are Henry McGee and Stephen Hacker.
They're going to have to do it here on this 3rd and 9. Price, pressure comes backside and almost throws an interception again. Dexter Jackson was looking. He tipped it. His Corsair buddies had an opportunity at it, and now it's a 4th down for Fort Worth.
You're not really going to see it in the stat column, and I always say this, great defensive line play doesn't always show up in that stat column. That pressure from the defensive line made that incompletion and 3-and-out happen.
Now Peaches will have to punt the ball away. It is a high punt. Fair caught near midfield at the 48-yard line by Bob Wood. So Queen City with good starting field position here to start off their second possession of the second half. Chad, I want to remind you, like this video. I'll say it again, like this video. Please support our hardworking crew by smashing that like button, subscribing, and commenting on this video. It really helps the channel out. Turn notifications on so you'll never miss a live stream, highlight, or podcast. We thank you for your support of the Virtual Football Network and the SFL. As Christensen drops back to pass, he's going to take off and run, has plenty of room, and is going to get the first down.
So he knew we were talking about the Virtual Football Network. So Silas Christensen said, you know what, this might be my second season on the big time, but I'm going to show everybody how to do it here on the big show. Nice 15-yard run.
Best kind of advertising right there is when you make a big play following the smash the like button ad.
You know it.
Offset eye, 3 wide now for the Corsairs after the Christensen scramble. Pitch goes to Osmosis, and he'll churn ahead for a gain of 6 yards. That was the slowest looking 6 yards I think I've ever seen, but Queen City will take it.
Hey, one way or another you get there, right? Slow and steady, move the horse up the hill. But I love what they're doing here. They're pitching, delayed draws, right up the middle. They're really mixing up how they run the football.
Bizarre and Baker check in. Bizarre gets the carry, trying to get to the sticks, and will be marked just a yard shy. It's another third down for Queen City.
Yeah, it's good to see Queen City. I mean, so far, Queen City has yet to get a passing yard here in this third quarter. They've just been running the ball, 36 rushing yards so far. So good to see them continue to commit to that running game.
4 of 10 on third down thus far. Christensen going to pick up the first down with his legs and slide near the 20-yard line, so they'll get another conversion here.
So clever, and there's nothing wrong with keeping the ball on the ground if you're moving it. A lot of people like to call it conservative. I like to call it safe, and there's nothing wrong with safe, smart football.
First down, Christensen throws and a catch made near the 10-yard line. That's Davis with the grab, and he rolls over to set up a goal-to-go situation.
Let me tell you, a very eclectic mix of wide receivers here. For only having 7 completions so far in the contest, Christensen has thrown the ball to 4 different receivers for a combination of 109 yards.
He's done a nice job with distributing the football. He's done a nice job with finding the open receivers who have made plays for him over the course of the evening. Just hasn't translated to points as of yet. Carry to Osmosis, met right in the middle by Delaney Nash, and it's going to be a second and goal.
Well, we talked about how they have to find a way to score here in the red zone. This is a very important statement for shaping the landscape of the football game. This could be a BCAD moment in this contest where both teams are fighting for their playoff lives.
Pitch goes to Osmosis, lowers his shoulder, doesn't get to the goal line. Going to be a third and goal. There's good pursuit by the Toros on the back end.
Just a great tackle right there. The great defenses never give up. They're always trying to force a turnover. They're always trying to protect the line. They never consider it to be too late to make a big play.
Third and goal. Blitz coming. Christensen throws. End zone. Incomplete. Looking for Clausen in the back of the end zone. And it was good coverage by the Toros secondary, Ben Stone and company.
This is one of the times where the numbers can be a little bit deceptive. We talked about third down efficiency. The first half, they were 3 for 8. Second half, now they've been 2 for 4. But in times where they had to score, when it was third and goal, so far they have yet to find the end zone and possibly even create turnovers for themselves, even though they could still take the lead here. But 2 points is a very slim margin. But at the end of the day, a lead's a lead.
Another 21-yard attempt. High snap, gets down, and it is up and through. Garfield responsible for all 9 points on the board after that 9-play drive for the Corsairs to take the lead here in the third.
I am so glad that went in, because I didn't want to be attributed to the announcer's curse for that one. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to happen like it happens. I wasn't saying I wanted to go in. I just don't want anybody to make the voodoo doll of me and put pins in it. And it's already hard enough waking up in the morning. I snap, crackle, and pop from, my bed to the restroom at least once a night.
Nah, it's flattering. Every now and again, you get a voodoo doll made up of you. You get little pokes and jabs. It keeps you awake. It's fine.
As long as it's got a smile on it. Let me know that, hey, it's going to be a great day.
Fort Worth following the touchbacks, setting up shop at the 20-yard line. Now down by 2 points. Bacon running off tackle, still keeps his feet and gets a gain of 8 yards.
What a great run by Jay-Z Bacon. 714 yards going into this on 175 carries. Been an absolute workhorse for this team, and a reason that they are still in this. 8 seasons. We talked about being an all-star. Absolutely great contributor for the Fort Worth Natural.
Hacker will shift out towards the far sideline. 2nd and 2, 0 with the carry now. And he'll get just enough to move the sticks and give the Toros a fresh set of downs.
And I like that, because when they sent Hacker outside, that was able to divert the run from just outside of the right tackle there. So it's a good little trick to force them to pay attention to the playmaker outside and not the playmaker inside.
Price blitz coming. It's picked up, throws, and incomplete. And once again, But we've seen it time and time again, Jesse. When Price is uncomfortable, he is forced to throw the football, and it's not entirely accurate.
Oh, and you're true about that. And the problem with not being entirely accurate is that sometimes you're accurate to the wrong guy. At the end of the day, an interception is really a completion to someone on the other team.
Back to the ground game with Bacon. And Dexter Jackson rolls over him like he's wrestling an alligator, and it's going to be 3rd and 5.
It's another tackle for Dexter Jackson. Dexter Jackson, 6 on the day, along with a pass deflection, and that absolutely mind-numbing, my mind is still recovering, interception.
Price, the blitz is picked up. He's just going to take off and run. He's got days to run and will slide near midfield. Good decision by Eric Price, recognizing the man coverage across the board from Queen City.
It really is, and sometimes you have to get up and take off. And what a beautiful run there, too. That might be his first takeoff of the entire game for a gain of 15, and that puts him right into midfield.
More importantly, it keeps the drive alive for the Toros, who are now down by 2. Only points came on the opening possession of the ball game. Price back to the air. He's going to swing it out to Bacon. He's got a convoy, trying to find a little extra room, and he'll get first down yardage. Looks like to be a gain of 12 and another Fort Worth first down.
And they caught him because it looks like Swift and Jackson were feigning blitz off the right edge, and they continued to make the bet and not audible and then flip it out into the flat, and they were completely exposed. They were unguarded. They had nothing they can do about it, and they got an easy 12 yards out of it.
We've seen plenty of productive Fort Worth possessions over the course of the game, but they've all ended up in turnovers. Price again to throw. Blitz picked up. Throws a low ball to Hacker, trying to find a little bit of daylight, and a ton of black jerseys around him. He'll get 3 out of the deal.
Now, it looked like they were going to run the same defensive play last time, but this time, rather than commit to that edge blitz, they feigned and came back into coverage. Much different result there.
Split backfield. Price will roll out. He'll throw middle of the field, finds Hacker near the 20-yard line. Another fresh set of downs for the Toros.
Mr. Hacker, football for Hacker. 8th reception of the game. He's about to hit the 110 number and maybe even possibly the 110-1. That's a great day at the office.
He is their go-to guy when it comes to the receiving. Over 1,100 yards coming into this ball game. Another 92 tonight. Handoff. Goes to 0 and just absolutely nothing doing. Right up the middle. He goes and nothing doing. Duncan on him was on him.
And they really have been owning that line of scrimmage. 5 tackles for Onum, 7 for Swift, 6 for Jackson. They've been putting a hurting on any running back that decides to cross the line of scrimmage.
Blitz coming again. Price going to set his feet, fires towards Hacker. Another one-handed grab and a goal-to-go situation for the Toros. A lot of these passes Price is getting away with because Hacker is coming up with these clutch catches.
And sometimes you see it and you just put on a mean face and you just stomp the mustard bottle. Throw it right in there, laser rope inside. Stephen Hacker is now over 100 yards. That's his 9th reception. Let's see if they can cash it in here.
Nice round 110 for Mr. Hacker. Handoff goes to 0. Bouncing it outside. Bounces back inside. What a masterful run by Jet 0. Touchdown Toros as they take the lead.
Like the old show says, right? I love it when a plan comes together. Jet 0 goes outside. Well, that's not going to work. Goes inside. It looks like it's not going to work, but he just keeps fighting. He breaks the tackle on Duncan on him. All 246 pounds of him to break through the inside for a huge score.
8th rushing touchdown of the season for Jet 0. Top 10 in the league. And more importantly, puts Fort Worth back out in front as Peaches adds the extra point. Now a 14-9 score, our first sustained drive we've really seen from Fort Worth since the opening possession. 11 plays, 80-plus yards, and they retake the lead deep in the third.
I bet he's sitting next to Jay-Z Bacon, and Bacon's going, was that supposed to go outside or inside? He's going, I don't know. I just grabbed the ball and I just went with it.
Sometimes it works out better that way as Bob Wood gets the return and runs it right into the teeth of that Toros special teams unit out to the 26. About less than 30 seconds to go here in the third, and Queen City will get an opportunity to take the lead.
Now, hasn't this been a fun football game so far?
This is exactly what I was looking for. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's what we were talking about. We said this is going to be a really exciting football game to watch.
Both these teams continuing to fight, get every win possible. This game and one more game to close out the regular season for both of these teams as Osmosis gets the carry, fumbles the football, and Fort Worth has it. Stone able to cover up the football deep into Queen City territory, and the Toros are in business.
We talked about turnovers being a problem. Yeah, Fort Worth is number one in turnover difference. They're number one in turnovers they collect. And they just showed right there the power of their defense to take over this football game. And you can feel the air like a balloon just pop right out of the stadium.
Jarbs was the one who forced the fumble. He had an interception in the first half. Stone recovers the fumble, wow. And Zero punishes on the back end there. Gets a gain of 7, but man, what a run by Jet Zero.
They are feeling it. They are done with the slow ballads.
Give us the rock music. Turn up the rock and roll. We got one more quarter to go here from Buffalo as the Toros are up 14-9 over Queen City. You're watching the SFL on VFN.
This is where you let Animal take over on drums. Start banging away.
Here we go, just outside the SFL red zone. Get your fours up in the chat. Split backfield, pitch goes to Bacon. Nothing doing there. Good closing speed by the corner, Bentley Bonner, and it's a 3rd and 4.
And that's a bigger tackle than it looks because that slows down the vibe. That might be only his 3rd tackle on the day, but that just kind of eases the momentum and kind of takes the wind out of their sails.
Sticking with the split back look. Price instead will throw. Wide open man as Henry McGee turns his feet and rolls over the defender inside the 5 for another goal-to-go situation.
And a great job of McGee just coming in, reeling that in. And for Eric Price to not let the fact that it slowed down a little bit, to not allow him to come up and make another absolutely huge completion on that play. Now it's 1st and goal on the 2-yard line.
Belmont with the tackle. Queen City has to get a stop here. Force at least a field goal attempt. Bacon going to get the carry, avoids initial contact, but gets dragged down by the 2nd defender, that being Marshall, and it's going to be 2nd and goal.
Another huge tackle, and this is something that they have to force. They have to force a field goal attempt or a turnover here because you don't want to be down by more than 8 with more than 1 score in this moment.
Certainly put them behind the 8 ball if they're looking to keep pace in this ball game. Split backfield once again for the Toros. Pitch play goes to Zero, trying to get the edge. Good pursuit once again by the linebacking core. Dexter Jackson with the tackle, 3rd and goal.
And Alex Marshall being there to put another body on the pile to keep his forward progression from going further. Remember how we talked about how 3rd down was going to be big? Remember?
Another 3rd down right here. 6 of 11. Can they convert it? Alexander doesn't get there. Another great stop by the front 7. Dunking on him.
Ain't that something? A football field is 100 yards from line to line, but it's a game of inches.
And so now Peaches will line up from 18 yards out. Doinked it off the left upright on her initial attempt. Good snap, good hold. This time she bends it through the uprights, and Fort Worth takes a 17-9 lead. Still a one-possession ball game, and Queen City breathes a sigh of relief.
And they really have to here because, after a turnover like that, if they had given up the touchdown there, that would have been very demoralizing to the Queen City offense getting the ball next. But standing strong as a defense lets your team know that we're here for you and we got your back. But they're going to have to score, and they're going to have to get a two-pointer.
Davis with the return this time. And he'll lead it up the middle of the field past the 25 to the 27. And think about how important that is. If they score the touchdown there, Jesse, it's a 21-9 game. It's a two-possession game. Right now, it's a one-possession ball game. Yes, it's the hard one possession, but it's still one possession.
And as you know, they can score really quick. They don't have to necessarily get it now, but it is an oblong number to be behind.
Beasley, the motion man. Pitch it out to Osmosis. He fumbled the possession before and will only get maybe a yard. As Stone, who recovered the fumble, was able to make the tackle.
That's why you always want to swarm the ball carrier. So what makes safeties really good is that they go in and they hit. You always want to get somebody to do the first hit and then gang tackle on the ball carrier and clean it up. Great Ben Stone.
Osmosis, another carry, avoiding contact, getting through defenders. Stone cleans it up on the back end, but not before they move the sticks for the Queen City Corsairs.
And right now, a lot of people are saying, when do you get the two-pointer? Let's not worry about that now. We got to get the 6 first. You still have time to keep running the football. You're not in that part of the game yet where you have to start slinging it around all the time.
Plenty of time, still a one-possession game. Both teams with all 3 timeouts. So certainly not in any rush as of yet. Keeping it on the ground, this time Charlie Baker, and she'll surge ahead for a gain of 4.
Queen City once again goes back to the well, goes back to running the football. And they go back to that rushing game there. It helpful, also can be a little hurtful.
See what it ends up being on the second down. Christensen, blitz coming. He throws and finds Matthew Jr. First catch of the evening. It couldn't come at a better time.
And this is where time management can be a little bit hurtful here because you kind of have to gauge it. I know I said, you got time. But then I realized this isn't baseball. Right? You got to score, and you got to score pretty fast here because you're going to have to get the ball back and score it again to win the game.
Well, much like baseball, we're going to be here all night if it takes that long to decide a winner in this one, as a delayed handoff goes to Osmosis. Up the middle he goes. Tackle made by Gagne. A good chunk of 8 or 9 yards on that play brings up second down.
I just know that if it goes to 100 overtimes, Eric, I know you're going to be right here with me. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
By my side.
Might take a few extra cups of coffee, but yeah, we'll get there, man.
I bought a 24-pack of Red Bull from Sam's Club today. It's in my fridge.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Christensen trying to sneak it and absolutely gets obliterated. Sent to the shadow realm by Luther Gahn, and it's third down.
Yeah, okay, you want to try that again? It's a tell, right? It's coming, and then Luther Gahn just decides to jump and unload into him. I didn't know he could jump that high.
We'll see if Christensen wants to try it again. No, he's going to stick it to the fullback, trying to get it off, and doesn't. What a tackle to mark him just shy. The backup running back gets in there, Aaron Shea.
Yep, that's what I was expecting.
There it is. We're going to get our first challenge of the ball game. And Chad Stinson doesn't like that ball spot, and I can't say I blame him there, Jesse.
Yeah, most coaches tend to have a common facial expression when throwing the challenge flag. It's very hard to describe, but it looks as if they're smelling very sour milk. But let's take a look at the play here, and
that's a good angle right there. And
his elbow goes down. Yeah.
It's closer than I thought it was going to be, but it looks like they are going to overturn the ruling on the field. Queen City will save that timeout, and it's all about where they spot the football. They will give Queen City a first down.
Well, you know, half the time the ref is right, half the time the ref is wrong. At the end of the day, it really depends on who you ask.
Well, if you ask Queen City, the ref was wrong, and they threw the challenge flag and were rewarded for that, as Osmosis gets the carry and pays for it after a gain of 3.
Oh, what another beautiful run. Like, there's nothing wrong with just continuing to, but remember how we talked about time? If they score at this point, scoring the way they are, they're not going to have the luxury of getting a field goal later. They're going to have to technically score twice.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Bizarre looking to get to that bridge pretty quickly as he gets another fresh set of downs for the Corsairs.
And I think it's a battering ram to, you know, go over a medieval drawbridge. I mean, you know, like the big log, and they've got like 40 people pushing it. He just absolutely drove through it like a pylon spike.
Just there's not hot tar at the end of that. Flaming arrows. I'm good with that. Christensen throws, almost threw another interception to Ben Charbs.
And Charbs was falling backward, but of course, because he's a strong safety, it's like he saw the football and had to knock it down. I thought he was going to catch it with one hand for a second and break the internet.
Like that ball had some mustard on it. I don't know if Charbs was ready for it as it hits the turf. Just under 4 minutes to go in regulation, 2nd and 10 now. Fort Worth manning up on defense. Blitz coming. Christensen throws an incomplete. Looked like he had a decent matchup on the top of that formation with Beasley, just couldn't connect.
I'm shocked at how he got it in there because that was a pinpoint throw. I mean, it didn't look like it was going to be intercepted at worst. That was actually a very skilled pass.
3rd down. Queen City 6 of 13 converting 3rd downs during the course of the game. Christensen to throw, and he'll convert here inside the 20 in the SFL red zone. Connection with Ryan Davis.
Just a quick snap route to Ryan Davis. You know, when they sent the man in motion, I was thinking they were going to go for something long developed, take advantage of a mismatch. But no, it's immediate cut inside, pace, throw inside. It's another beautiful pass by Silas Christensen. 9 for 24 right now, but that's all moot. Score here or else.
Back to the ground game. Osmosis carrying defenders forward as he drags Charbs past the goal, or excuse me, the line to gain, 1st and goal.
I agree with this.
Christensen, blitz coming, throws end zone, incomplete, but penalty marker. It's going to be pass interference.
Should put it right on the goal line.
Yep, they will set him up right at the 1 yard line. 1st and goal now from the Fort Worth 1.
Now, I'm saying, like, if I'm, you know, Ryan Davis, I'm going to run this in. You don't want to try to get cute and, like, throw a slant route that gets picked at the goal line. I would just run it.
Let's see what they do here on 1st and goal from the 1, 3:16 on the clock. Christensen instead will throw. He throws end zone, finds Matthew Jr. for the touchdown. And now it's decision time.
Happy Tight Ends Day, James Matthew Jr., and not a bad time to have your 2nd reception of the contest. And I was thinking that he was going to go out to the flat, and Christensen was going to go to his route outside, but he decides to go inside to James Matthew Jr. and that big target. Great presence of mind. It looks like they're going to, let's take a look here. They're going to go for, yep, they're going for 2 here.
Yep. 3:13 to go. Trying to knot this game up at 17. Handoff up the middle. Bizarre trying to get forward, and he just doesn't do it. Too many Fort Worth Toros in the backfield and stops him before he can cross the goal line.
Let's see. Where's the knee come down? I don't know. We might see
be
a
another challenge.
on that. Now's the time. Now's the time, Chad. Nope.
No challenge flag.
No challenge there. Yeah.
Might have been a missed opportunity.
Yeah, but timeouts are precious. I get it. I get it. Trust your defense here. It's a flag on the play.
McGee with the return. He'll bring it out across the 25 as we get a look at the flag, and it is going to be a block in the back. So that'll move Fort Worth back. And we'll check in for the first time with Commissioner Cameron Irvine at VFN HQ for a game break. Cam.
Thank you, Eric. It's a wrap in Raleigh. Scar Patterson trying to lead Sin City down the field. The bouncing ball ends up in the hands of Rochelle Colston, and the Carolina Skyhawks have a win and in situation next week if they beat Florida. They upset Sin City, and the Samurai still without a clinched playoff spot fall to 6-5. Back to you for the finish in Buffalo.
Oh boy, thank you, Cam. That definitely makes the playoff situation a little bit juicier. Fort Worth lining up at the 13 following the penalty. 2-point lead. Both teams with all 3 timeouts. Keeping it on the ground with Bacon. And he'll get about 7 yards. Give him 8. And it's going to be second down.
When you're running the ball as well as you are, it's a great idea. Keep it on the ground. You average it out, they're looking at 3.3 yards a carry. That's the magic number. It's very close to it. But right now, the situational football, we always talk about that. Just keep running the football. As long as you keep running it, the clock is your friend, but you have to keep getting first downs.
Clock continuing to roll. Fort Worth eager to chew up as much of it as humanly possible. Zero gets the pitch, and he'll get the first down. That'll keep the clock moving, and another fresh set of downs for the Toros.
This is so hard to defend if you're Chad Stinson because you can't give up the first down. You also kind of can't give up a touchdown either. It's so hard to just protect that little line because they can attack you from so many ways to win the game.
Split backfield again. Carry up the middle goes Bacon. And that is going to bring us to the 2-minute warning here in Buffalo. Fort Worth up 17-15. Both teams, all 3 timeouts, and both teams need to continue to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. You're watching the SFL on VFN. Loser of this ball game officially eliminated from playoff contention. It means everything for both of these teams as Zero gets another carry, another first down. That'll keep the clock moving, and Queen City will have to burn their first timeout.
And every first down is just twisting the knife deeper and deeper, putting another nail and another nail into the coffin as their fingertips scratch and carve to try to escape.
It's spooky season, folks. Price is going to throw, and he finds Hacker. That's the dagger right there. Keeps it inbounds, goes down. Queen City calls their second timeout, but that should pretty much do it.
Stephen Hacker, have a night. 132 yards, 10 receptions. Wow. And neither of them scored a receiving touchdown. The only touchdown of that game was to ZZ Bacon on that 1-yard run.
Price going to throw again. Checks it down to Hacker. Wisely stays in bounds. He's still on his feet. And he is rumbling down the near sideline, eventually ushered out of bounds. That was a mistake, but a big play for the Toros.
I guess he's wondering if he has enough room to get to 200. And like you said, great presence of mind to cut immediately back inside, chew more time off the clock. Man, and it's really tough, to see it end like this. But it was a really exciting contest throughout. But also keep in mind, right, until they assume the victory formation, it's spooky season. Something wild could happen.
Queen City still keeps that last time out after Hacker was tackled out of bounds. Back to the ground game. Zero keeping it inbounds. Queen City will call their final timeout with 1:35 to go.
And just sticking to the script. Keep running the football. And just keep running it. And whatever you do, don't drop it. Hold on to it as tight as you can.
Fort Worth content to line up in victory formation. holding a 2-point lead. No more opportunities to stop the clock for Queen City. And Fort Worth will probably kick a field goal following this last kneel down. And be very limited time at that point, Jesse.
It would be very limited time indeed. You know, I understand the play. Right. You're going to go for the field goal attempt. Nothing's guaranteed in life, especially the SFL. But we're going to have to see how that plays out, how that plans out, and how much time is left. If you leave enough time for one play, and one play is all it takes, you never know.
Price will take the knee, brings up 4th and 7. We'll see how much time is going to be left following this field goal, and we'll see if even Peaches is able to make the field goal. She missed one earlier in the ball game. This one from 31 yards from the left hash. Fort Worth doing their best to milk every ounce of the game clock off. High snap, and Peaches is able to bend it through the uprights for a 20-15 advantage. 18 seconds to go, and Queen City will have no more timeouts to work with.
Yeah, and we talked about the importance of third down. Now, that third down, we're not really going to count. They purposely kneeled it out. But both teams were a little even if you look at the numbers. When you look at volume, it was actually Queen City that did a little bit better.
Deep kick will result in a touchback, so 17 seconds, 80 yards to go for Queen City to win this thing.
Yeah, you know, if you don't have the arm for a rocket ball, it looks a little too far. You've got to try to draw something outside, get out of bounds, and be able to give yourself the chance for 3 wishes and a prayer.
They're definitely going to have to move the sidelines if they want to keep themselves in the ball game. Can't take a sack there, and Jeff Gagne pretty much sealed it right there. Spiked the football at 7 seconds, and now it's just a prayer at this point for Queen City.
It really is, and he just came off hot. And the worst part was it was a bootleg, and it was a bootleg literally to where Jeff Gagne was running out of. He had no time to think. I'm shocked he didn't drop the football.
7 seconds, 3rd and 16. Christensen retreats. He'll loft one, middle of the field. Catch is made by Clausen, but they're going to run out of time. Queen City will fall to 4 and 7 following the 20-15 loss to Fort Worth. The Toros will improve to 5 and 6. Queen City officially eliminated from playoff contention, and Fort Worth keeps their hopes alive. What a ball game, Jesse Long. Go ahead and take us out.
You know, it feels a little like scoregami. What a very interesting score, right? 20-15. You know, you don't see something so even every day. The more even it is, the more odd it seems in this game. When it comes to a game ball, you know, honestly, like you could easily give it to one of your offensive players, but along with obviously Stephen Hacker and his 156 yards, Ben Sharps, strong safety. He had a fumble, he had 4 passes knocked down, and an interception and 7 tackles. He was a dynamic playmaker who was absolutely everywhere this team needed him to be. And man, whew, what a game. I hope you guys knew better. I hope you guys stayed up late. It's okay. We'll let you stay up late here on the Virtual Football Network.
Well, on behalf of Jesse Long, Ron Haynes, and Justin Reside in the Stats Truck, Commissioner Cameron Irvine back at VFN HQ, my name is Eric Vincent. Thank you for tuning in to this presentation of the SFL on VFN. Be sure to check out simfl.net for more information on this great league. And as always, if you had half as much fun as I did, well, it's twice as much fun as you. We'll see you tomorrow for the Monday Night Spectacular.